Okay, now we're ready. All right, welcome everybody. We're going to give another couple minutes for people to join us. Happy Tuesday. Anyone wants to kind of enter an emoji on how they're feeling today? I know everyone's probably cold. And I know that the state of North Carolina is looking at maybe some weather today. Anyone's joining us from the coast. It's kind of crazy that you all might get some snow. We're going to get started in just another minute. Chilly in Asheville. I think Denver gets the chilliest. Oh, there you go. Yep. You wrote that in. Below zero. We can't complain.
Andrea, do you watch the chat while we're doing
Yeah.
this?
Yep.
Okay,
I'll
so
keep
you
an eye
can
on it.
alert me in case I miss something.
Yep. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started. We have a few people joining us. Hopefully a couple more will. Oh, Omaha, -8. That's chilly. All right. Thank you for joining us, everybody, today. My name is Andrea Young. I'm an ECAC parent educator and communications lead. And today we are joined by Jennifer Siedman with the Courageous Parents Network. And Jennifer's going to go ahead and get started and tell us about her. And I hope you enjoy the information she's providing. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Just share my screen. Andrea, you can confirm that you're seeing my
Yes.
screen now? Okay.
Yep, I see it.
Okay. Well, first, thanks for having me here today. It's always nice to join a community of parents caring for medically complex kids. It makes me feel right at home, and also have the opportunity to bring Courageous Parents Network to you as a resource. I thought I might first start with telling you a little bit about myself and how I came to Courageous Parents Network and sort of frame what my expertise is. This is my son, Benjamin, on the left. He had a rare genetic condition called Sanfilippo syndrome. And unfortunately, he passed away nearly 11 years ago now due to his condition. Shortly after Benjamin passed away, my husband and I were interviewed by the founder of Courageous Parents Network, which at the time was only one, about our experience loving and caring for our son Benjamin. And you can see here, this is one of my video interviews. After that, I signed on, as many bereaved parents do, or even parents of medically complex kids, wanting to give back to my community in a greater way, and now serve as Director of Community Engagement at Courageous Parents Network, which ostensibly means it's my job at Courageous Parents Network to interact with organizations such as yours that brought us all here today, and parents. So I'm excited to tell you a little bit about what Courageous Parents Network is, and have you learn more about it. This is actually a screen grab of our homepage. But CPN is a nonprofit that provides digital resources designed to support families of medically complex children, and importantly, the providers who care for them. A lot of clinicians come to learn about the lived family experience from Courageous Parents Network. Our primary resource is a library of over 600 video interviews, like the one that I did when I first came to Courageous Parents Network. These videos feature the voices of parents like myself and providers talking about the many decision points, worries, and interventions families like ours face. At CPN, we really understand that the immense wisdom of families like ours and all that we have to offer. And we know that parents often listen best to other parents. And that's why our primary asset is video interviews representing the parent voice. We also understand at Courageous Parents Network that not every family is the same, and not every family will make the same decisions for their child. And so we try to represent the topics that we address in both a disease and decision agnostic way so that you can come and, as I like to say, try on different hats, watch different videos, see how other parents have responded to certain situations, and see which one fits you the best. We also have on our website, because we know there are different types of learners, as you can see represented here, some podcasts, blogs, a lot of printable guides, and we'll talk more about this later. We have whole units on big topics like marriage or understanding the sibling experience. And then we have a learning tool called a guided pathway where you can sort of watch, read, and learn on different topics. This is just a screen grab of some of the topics that we address on Courageous Parents Network. I'd need probably 3 more slides to show you all the topics of content that you can find on our website. Our video library and most of our assets are able to be supported or searched in different ways. You can, of course, search by the topic, which you see represented in these little tiles here. You can also search by diagnosis, because while we know that there are a lot of shared experiences over the diagnosis, we know families want to be able to see themselves. We don't have every diagnosis represented on our site, but for those that do, you can search and find those resources that are just specific to your diagnosis. And then you can search by either a provider, and by that we have doctors represented on our website, child life specialists if you want to learn more about what that is, physical therapists, occupational therapists, genetics counselors. So a lot of the professionals that you interact with in your life, we have video interviews with them talking about different topics. In the right-hand corner here, you can see a neurologist that we have featured on our website talking about the family experience. And then you can sort by family. Just as I said before, sometimes it's nice to go into our video library and watch different videos and see which ones resonate with you. If you find a particular family and their values or their story seems to align with yours, you can actually sort our videos and blogs and stuff by the contributions of that family. And some people find real comfort in identifying with a singular family. When I talk about CPN and how we address the common concerns of parents caring for children like ours, I like to talk about those concerns as hopes, not a list of dreads and worries. I think a lot of times when we interface with professionals, they talk to us about the things we worry about and the things that we're sort of not looking forward to facing. And yes, those are real realities, but I like to think of them as a hope, or reframe them, as we like to say at CPN. Use the voices of others to help us reframe how we see them, because we believe that families just need a roadmap, actually, to continually redefine their hopes. So here are just a few of the topics that you might find on Courageous Parents Network, and again, framed around hopes, and I'll try to point out some of the assets that we have, resources, as we go along. I hope I make the best decision for my child. I mean, you know this already. We spend a lot of time in the decision-making space in the lives that we live with. And at Courageous Parents Network, we really feel that the best way to support a caregiver is to support them in their decision-making capacity. So we offer a lot of resources to help you with decision points. Here on the right, you'll see a guide about what shared decision-making is and how hard it is to understand your decision-making style, or to find a clinician who might work well with you in the way that you like to make decisions. Because we've often had that situation where we meet a clinician and maybe the things that they're saying to us or the way that they're giving us the information isn't complementary to the way we need to make a decision. For example, maybe you're a person who wants to know all your choices before you make a decision, and the physician in front of you is only offering you one choice. That person may not be complementary to you. So we offer resources for you to explore those things. We have specific videos around a lot of the interventions we face, like in this particular case, whether or not this child would get a trach. And then, because shared decision-making is such a big topic at Courageous Parents Network, on the left here, you'll see what we call a unit. So it's a place where we've bundled together, we've put together all of the resources that we have on that topic, including blogs, guides, and many of our resources are also available in Spanish. I hope my partnership stays intact. This is also another big topic for which families come to Courageous Parents Network to explore and understand how other couples have handled the situation. And here you'll see represented a blog and then one of the webinars that we host. We host a monthly webinar on different topics. We'll talk more about that, but this one happened to be one that we did back in 2023 on the partnership, and we record them so they are available to all of you. I hope for a treatment. Now, this may or may not be the experience that you may be having in your family and with your child, but for many families, the hope of a clinical trial or participating in some sort of treatment is a possibility. And we, of course, have developed resources to support that decision-making process. And this is a pathway. Pathways are little learning curriculums that you can do. You can walk your way through them. You can close out and save where you were and come back to it, because we all know we live those lives where we sometimes only have little pockets of time to accomplish something. I hope my children will be okay. Siblings is another big topic at Courageous Parents Network, and one for which we have a lot of resources. Here you'll see a podcast with two sisters talking about their experience with their brother. Over to the right, you'll see that we have a printable guide on how to communicate well with your siblings to help them cope. And in fact, this Thursday night at 8 p.m., we are having our monthly webinar. You can see a picture of it here. And it is features, most of our webinars bring in experts in the field, psychologists perhaps. Sometimes the expert is a parent themselves. It could be a child life specialist, but somebody who's an expert in the topic. In this case, it's a psychologist, and she will be helping us talk about supporting and celebrating the siblings. Because again, oftentimes when we talk about the siblings, we talk about the things we worry about, but we forget to talk about the things that they gain through their experience and celebrate those gains and those positive attributes that they get. So this Thursday night at 8 p.m. and information to register is on our website. I hope I can navigate as my child becomes an adult. Increasingly, this is becoming an experience for families as they navigate the transition to adulthood for children who may remain dependent on their families. And so here you'll find resources, including some very good printable guides on transition planning, but also included in here are video resources on making that medical move. So when your family moves from a pediatric practice to an adult practice. And unfortunately, for some of our families that come to Courageous Parents Network, thinking about the death of their child is a reality. And while I know it may not be for all of you here, I think it's important that you know that the resources here just in case. And this happens to be an expert guide we have on end of life. A lot of times we hear from families that some of the topics, including, by the way, approaching end of life, frightens families, and we understand that. And so what we have tried to do is also give you the opportunity to explore our website by coming in through different doors. And here you'll see the 5 we offer. So if you really only want to explore how you felt during your child's diagnosis and those initial feelings of, say, anticipatory grief that you might have experienced, you can enter in through the beginning door. If you are thinking about a big medical decision with your child, you might go to advocating for your child or understanding interventions. If you're looking for school-related resources, you might go to advocating. If you're trying to figure out how to have a family meeting with your clinicians, you would enter through the advocating door. Many of the interventions that we talk about on Courageous Parents Network are common to many diagnoses. So this would be things like spinal fusion surgery, considering a trach, the possibility of a feeding tube. And again, we try to be disease and decision agnostic. So we will always, with every intervention, feature the voice of a family who chose to have that intervention and the voice of a family who might have chosen not to have that intervention, so that you can figure out which one best suits your needs. In coping in family and relationships, you're of course going to find things like the siblings, how to maintain your marriage, but you'll also find resources for using writing as healing or self-care, and or how to deal with that extended family member who might not actually be helping your family situation. And then finally, you can also segment our resources by coping with end of life and into bereavement if that is the circumstance that you find yourself. I wanted to highlight a few other resources that are available on Courageous Parents Network, and bring them to you. The first is that we also have everything on our website is available on a mobile app. So you can download it both for iPhone and for an Android. And it'll bring you everything that you see on Courageous Parents Network, except that it will bring you one new tool that you might find helpful that is not available on our web platform, so on our website. And this tool is called Bundle and Share. And this allows you to curate your own mini library from our resources on topics that might be of interest to you. We have some already curated bundles, and you can see them here. These are resources that might help you understand this topic. But how might Bundle and Share be helpful to you? Well, the cool part about Bundle and Share is it allows you to either text message or email out a resource. So when might that be helpful? Let's just suppose you have an upcoming doctor's appointment and you feel like the doctor is not listening to your voice around a decision that you're trying to make or a topic that you want to discuss. You can actually find a video or resource, including the ones on shared decision making, and have maybe we have resources that talk about sitting across from a physician who might not be listening to you. And you can either text message it or email it to them. Another time that I have found this particularly helpful, I might have had a friend or my husband who wasn't understanding where I was feeling and how I was feeling, or I couldn't talk about it with them because I myself couldn't vocalize it. I have in advance of a conversation, for example, shared with a friend, this is how I'm feeling in my bereavement. I don't know how to talk about it with you, but will you watch this video of this parent talking about it, and maybe at coffee we can talk about it. And it sort of gave me a way to open the dialogue with them. And the Bundle and Share tool allows you to do that very easily from your cell phone. So I wanted to make you aware of that. The other thing we've already kind of talked about, but we have many webinars once a month that you can go back and watch the old ones, but upcoming, we have one on siblings. We have one on, it's very niche. So if you are in the NICU, you'll find our February in the Room helpful. In May, we're bringing a new financial planner on board to talk about estate and financial planning for families caring for medically complex children. Unique to this particular financial planner is that she herself is also the mom of a medically complex child. And so she understands the psychosocial and emotional considerations of getting started with things like that. In April, we will bring another sibling webinar on board, this time featuring 4 siblings themselves talking about the experience. And I know in the fall, we're planning to do several really good webinars on involving therapies in your child's experience. They're still in the planning process. So please, our webinars are free and open to anyone. They're typically hosted at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I hope that you will join us there. Finally, I wanted to offer myself now as a tool in your toolbox. Many times families come to Courageous Parents Network and they're looking for something specific. They have difficulty finding it. And I want you to feel like you could always reach out to me and say, I've explored your website. I need something around this specific topic. Can you point me in the direction? And the last thing I wanted to say to you about Courageous Parents Network is that we are, in fact, a digital resource. We don't do any parent-to-parent connections. We don't host any support groups. We wish we could, but we're a tiny team, and we don't have the capacity. And we really do feel like the videos are an opportunity to bring another parent into your space so that you can feel less alone, whether that's in the middle of the night when the wake up demons get inside of your head, or if you're at a doctor's appointment with your child or at their hospital bedside. Courageous Parents Network is there 24/7 and free to all. So we hope that you will visit it and take advantage of the resources that are there to support you as you care for your child. That, I guess we can open it up to questions.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jennifer. I know these resources will be really helpful for some of our parents. We are happy to take any questions we have right now. While we wait to see if there's any questions, I'm going to launch our poll. If you could just take 1 second to complete that. The grants that we work with want to make sure what we're doing is useful, relevant, and of high quality. So we appreciate your feedback on that. And if there are any questions, we are happy to take them. Or comments, questions, comments.
Or if there's a specific resource that you want to hear about on a specific topic, you can throw that in the chat as well, and I can try to speak to those.
So we have one question. Would you say that your resources are relevant on a national scale?
In fact, yes, I would say that our resources are relevant on an international scale, even though we understand that language could be a barrier. As I said, we have some resources in Spanish, but currently on Courageous Parents Network, that's the only other language that we speak to. We really do feel like most of the experiences, especially the psychosocial and emotional things, which is the majority of what we discuss on Courageous Parents Network, are universal. So anticipatory grief, for example, and that's the grief you feel when you recognize that your life wasn't how you envisioned it, or the future isn't how you would have seen it, is universal to any parent caring for a medically complex child, regardless of where they live. Of course, some of the things specific to healthcare, for example, access to palliative care, is not a reality in every place in our country. So you may hear on Courageous Parents Network us talk a lot about palliative care and the benefits of it, but it may not be a resource that you can avail yourself of because of where you live.
Great, thank you. Any other questions or comments? I will let everyone know that next week on Tool Time Tuesday, we'll be joined by our lead parent educator, Doreen Bird, and she will be talking about resolving 504 disputes, even if you don't have a 504 plan. So make plans to join us for that if that is of interest. Another minute for the poll. Please feel free to do the poll if you haven't done so.
I will just add that just because you commented on the 504 webinar, I'm so glad that you host those, because those are often very state specific. Those are topics that at Courageous Parents Network, you're not going to find as many resources to, because the processes within towns and states differs, and it's hard. We do have one guide on getting started with federal and state programs.
Great, thank you. All right, well, if there are no questions, we're a few minutes early, give you some couple minutes back. We thank you, Jennifer, for joining us. I hope this information was very relevant to many people. So thank you for sharing it with us.
Thank you for
And
having me.
thank you, everybody. Stay warm, and I hope to see you next week. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.